Well, hello from Sahara. I want to tell you about what I learned about manifesting. Um, it's a very hot topic nowadays. It does involve a lot of magic thinking. If I think this way, I'll get it automatically, and things like that. Well, in a way. In a way. I had this, much of it comes to me from a out of body experience I had in um, 1972. And I'll tell you a little bit about that experience, what it's like on the other side. But I wanted to start off by telling you how manifestation takes place. And I've had this awareness. I've gotten it in the last couple of months. That was something I never had a grasp on, and I didn't think we had it right, really. That way, figure any young couple walking down the aisle with great dreams of exactly how it's going to be when they get married. Let me tell you, it does not. If thoughts are things, we'd all be princesses living in castles. And so we might have the ability to think and create, but if you think of Mickey Mouse and the Merlin um, cartoon where Mickey Mouse gets Merlin's wand and makes a big mess of things, that's us. But we're learning. The way to manifest is two rules. If you can get these two down, you're on your way. One is never tell a lie. Why is that? Because I don't mean to be, I'm not preachy here. I'm just telling you the way it works. If your word is law and a creative force, when you tell a lie to yourself, to someone else, if most of us live in the middle of big lies in some way or another, um, so if you are sending out to the universe one thing then another, you end up with a mess. That's what happens with your word is law. What laws are you making here? Changes every 10 minutes. I have tried not telling a lie. A lie would be a simple untruth, like, say, somebody says, let's do lunch. I go, yeah, sure. But in reality, I don't want to go to lunch with this person. I have other plans, so I'll blow it off. Well, what have I told the universe? The universe is busy making uh, a restaurant, lunch with a friend happen. And then I send out of cancel that. What a mess. And just think, if I think I'm going to do something, but I'm really not going to do it. It could be all kinds of stuff. And we're little lie machines, aren't we? We don't even mean it. You could be, I don't think Mother Teresa ever told a lie. That's probably why she got so much done, if you think about it. She was, if you think about it, I would tell you a story of Swami Kriyananda with Ananda Villages, and I've studied a lot of his teachings along with Yogananda's teachings. And Swami Ananda, I'm sorry, Swami Kriyananda thought so much of this law. Somebody told a story of, he said he was going to go in town, hop in the car, and drive 30 miles to the store and back again for a paper. Well, he said he was going to do that. Somebody walks in and says, and drops a paper on the table. Well, he didn't have to go to the store anymore. Well, you know what he did anyway? He got in a car, and drove to town, bought a paper, and came home. Okay, that's kind of crazy, isn't it? Because he told the universe, his higher self, God, his guru, I'm going to the store to buy paper. He's going to follow through on that. And he was very strict about it. If you know anything about Swami Kriyananda and his life as a disciple of Yogananda, he created amazing be, I would say, beyond normal human capacity tenfold, um, as far as creating ashrams and uh, temples for his guru and his I'll call it his tribe, the people that study Yogananda's teachings at Ananda Villages. So he was a powerhouse of creativity. A couple hundred books, maybe 400 songs. He created a network of ashrams and communities around the world. What he did, nobody really could do that, except Yogananda, of course. And how did he do that? He had this law: don't tell a lie. And you didn't tell it to yourself. You didn't tell a lie to someone else. And you'd send the universe absolute messages. So, the other law is do what you say you're going to do. It's kind of along the lines of don't tell a lie. For instance, if you say you're going to hold a class, write a book, make a call, any of the normal day-to-day things or big things, do it. Or don't say you're going to do it. Either way, when you are declaring something and then taking it back and changing it, you're not going to manifest anything. And I'll tell you, I had an OBE, outer body experience, I guess about 2 months ago. And I've studied William BULHMAN's books and tapes on the art of flying. So we'll call it the art of flying. He called it, he has like a lot of OBE experience books. If you go into his website and just type in William BULHMAN, start reading his books. They're page turners. You'll never put them down. It's not exactly heavy duty study. It is heavy duty study, but it's the best out there. And I read it. I read where William went on. He had a couple OBEs, outer body experiences, where he went to this place where he saw things being made manifest. We live in a material, three-dimensional world, and where do we get everything from? From a flower to a building, to our lives. We create our lives, of course. He saw a couple things that came into his life. First, he saw them on an astral plane. I think one was a car, which is cool, a red car. Okay. He saw something, and this is what I saw too, but I saw some other things that were being manifest for me. And you will see kind of like if you were to see dust, and the dust is forming like a silk spider web, and it starts to form an outline, and it starts to fill in, and it starts to take form and become manifest. Now, a lot of things in our world have been made in heaven. A lot of things that we make here, like cathedrals, are copies of things that are already in heaven. However, we have a crude resemblance of heavenly things. So, that was one. You have a thought, and you follow through with it. I'm going to write a book. I'm going to brush my teeth. Don't lie to yourself. Don't say you're going to do it, then not do it. Okay, the same goes, it's almost the same thing for the way you communicate with other people. I am not very good at this. I'm horrible at it. In normal everyday conversation, at least I'm aware of it. We tell lies like 100 times a day, but they're like normal human communication. And we know that we do it. Gee, that dress looks nice on you. might really mean that looks terrible. That's a bad color. I think that you should throw it away. You don't say that. Don't say anything. But that's how it works. I catch myself doing it all the time, and we're not talking like, I think you understand what I'm saying. You're talking to the universe, not particularly other people. You know, what happens is the only thing you end up fooling is yourself, and you don't even know you're doing it. You know, I guess we're kind of con men of the universe, which shows that we're not doing such a good job. There's only one person you end up conning. So if you practice doing what you say you're going to do and never telling a lie to yourself in your own mind, if you're going to do it, do it. Like Swami Kriyananda, he said he was going to go to the store, and he did. Now, that's nuts, and for most people, that's kind of crazy. But when you look at his level of creativity, especially the music and the books, the ashrams all over the world, kind of phenomenal. If you look at Ananda.com, you'll see what he created in his lifetime. And that was one of his rules. And his and that was what William Buhlman had. I had a couple of outer body experiences because that's like astral travel, and I saw some things being made, and I was like sitting there. I was like standing in this beautiful hall, and I saw things like forming. If you think of beautiful fine silk thread, and it's kind of forming in a dust or web-like outline, and it starts to fill in. And I'll tell you what I saw. I saw these big red cones, like CONES. I have an injury from an accident, but I saw these big pointed cones, and they were high, like 10 and 15 feet high. I looked up, I was like a little kid, and they were pointed. And the redness too. And my first thought was Nancy Pelosi. Now, for something about it reminded me of her. And then I saw some other things being made. So I was obviously in a place where this collective consciousness. I woke up the next day. I was like, what a cool place. I've been there before. And I always get this amazing feeling when I'm there. One thing about an NDE, near-death experience, or an OBE, out-of-body experience, is many times you come back with a very fulfilled, all-loving, you've been in a very loving place. It doesn't happen that way all the time. Sometimes you just see or you're taught something, but other times you're embraced with overwhelming acceptance and love. And people that have OBEs and near-death experiences, of course, they talk about that all the time, and that's what they bring back more than anything else. Love is the answer. So, but in this case, for manifesting, don't tell a lie. Not to yourself, not to anybody else. And if you say you're going to do something, do it. So, that was the manifestation lesson I had. And William Buhlman, and I'll leave his name in the comment section below. And let's see what else is handy. Oh, yes, you must read Michael Newton, Newton, and he writes about life in between lives. He's the hypnotherapist that wrote blockbusters books where he regresses people, but he doesn't just take them back to a past life. He takes people to in-between lives. What are we doing in between lives? So, actually, those two things, you'll be well versed in the workings of our world and the world around us. Now, in the next video I'm going to make, I want to talk about my near-death experience in 1972 and where I went and what I learned and how it changed my life. So, and I hope that you can, of course you'll get something from it. My experience is your experience. My experience adds into the collective consciousness too, which is very cool. Believe it or not, environment is just as important as anything else. The environment that you're around, the people around you, what they're thinking. That's the collective environment near you and far from you. And there's a study called the 100th monkey. And that's where I've been getting some information about current events, because we live in this sea of thoughts. And it's all around us. And if you can tap into that, it's amazing. And the 100th monkey is about some monkeys in the mid-50s. They were studying these monkeys, snow monkeys, on an island. Okay, so they put some sweet potatoes out in the sand, and the monkeys would come and eat them, and they liked them a lot. Okay, the one thing they didn't like was the sand, but they kind of ate they had to deal with it. Finally, one day, one monkey went over to the water and washed her sweet potato off. Okay. Later on, another monkey did the same thing. When the monkeys reached a certain percent of knowing, this is what you do with the sweet potato in the sand, you wash it off. They had that knowing. When they got that, another island hundreds of miles away, the monkeys were on this island isolated. They started to do the same thing. And that's why they called it the 100th monkey. When a certain percent of people, of monkeys, got an idea and they followed through on it, monkeys far away picked up on that idea. We do that in our culture nowadays. This is why some inventors will have the same invention at the same time. They turn in patent for the invention, but they're on different continents and they never talk to each other. The thought is out there. So what you're thinking adds to the collective consciousness. If you want to do anything nice for the world, think nice thoughts. And that's what people say. So think about following through on the manifestation principle, because there's a lot of magic thinking books out there, and usually I see a lot of people fall for it. Oh, if I just think good thoughts, I can go to Vegas. Well, I've actually seen people do that. Like, they think good thoughts, they go to Las Vegas. Well, it doesn't take much to figure out how that story ends. And so that's magic thinking. The other thing is, do what Swami Ananda, Yogananda, William BULHMAN, and little old me. I'm not doing good at it. I'm doing horrible. And believe me, it's not usually. It's like, I don't like your dress today. You know, just don't say anything. Oh my God. You know, how I can't line up my thoughts and what my words are going to all crash into each other. And this is when I saw somebody say, well, sometimes thoughts ramble around in my mind, and sometimes they slip out, and that's when the shit happens. You know, you're thinking things all the time, but we're masking them. That's our challenge in today's world, how to manifest our thoughts in a positive, creative way. And if you're into manifestation, have at it. I know Abraham by Esther Hicks is real big on this, but I'm afraid that what she preaches, oh, it's nice and all, but it is magic thinking. and people fall for it in a way that the author, Miss Hicks, she doesn't mean to con anybody, unless she does charge a lot of money for a reading, but uh, that's not her intention. But the people go, oh, I think good thoughts. I'm going to go to Vegas. Well, how about just don't ever tell a lie and do what you say you're going to do. Try those two things. Uh, Even Jesus taught that. And now William BULHMAN teaches it, and Yogananda, and Swami Kriyananda, and me, I'm just another bozo on the black bus. I'm in the back of the bus. I'm just another bozo in the back of the bus. I think I know where we're going, but I'm not ready to take the wheel. And that's the truth. I leave that with you, my dears. Thank you, thank you, thank you for subscribing. And namaste.